Hi, my name is Gareth Kemp. I'm founder of Simpler with AI. I want to show you how you can use AI to make an immediate impact upon your or your team's KPIs. Uh, Sounds kind of impossible because we all know that we need KPIs. We all know that we should have standard operating procedures. We all know we should have great job descriptions. And yet the reality of life is that these things, there are other priorities in life. Let's put it like that. Um, However, if you want to continually improve, if you want to be able to hold people accountable to what they're actually doing, we need to know what we are trying to measure. And AI gives us a way that with the clients we're working with, we can create this in 2 to 3 hours for their whole team. Very accurate job descriptions, very clear responsibilities and tasks, very clear standard operating procedures, very clear KPIs, and then how to use AI for each individual person as a performance coach so they can get their work done better, faster, and cheaper than ever before. And it used to be that there was that thing of better, faster, and cheaper. You can't have all three, pick two. As you're going to see, you can have all three. So let's start off at the start, though. I'm going to start off with job descriptions. So I'm saying I'm head of sales for a small manufacturing business. I'm not, but let's just go with that and put this into chat and see what it comes up with. So when you do this for yourself, we all expect, no, the role that I'm doing is fairly unique. Chat, if you give it the right information, chat will do an extremely good job. So as we look through these, it's coming up with sales strategy analysis, team and leadership management, customer relationship management, sales performance analysis. These are all the right sort of things. But chat is very flexible. I tend to think of it as a 12-year-old who is very intelligent, has a huge amount of information, and who is very eager to help, but doesn't have the real insight into the world and what it means. Not yet, anyway. So, what you need to do is use this with your experience and say, actually, sales process optimization, just for example, that's not one. Actually, this is what I need in there, and chat will help you to replace that. And actually, it's a point that I just want to linger on for a moment before we go on. If you are mid to late career, I think, no, I'm a firm believer that AI is going to help you accelerate what you're trying to do and help you to deliver better results. If you are early career, I think it's going to be much, much tougher for you to get the same impact. And here's why. You need to have the experience to be able to look through the output that AI gives you and to be able to leverage all of your years of expertise to understand, yep, this is right or this isn't right. Somebody in early stage career, they simply don't have that experience. Later on in life, you've got that experience. You can really use this to move extremely quickly. So as I look through this, I don't see anything particularly out of place for a head of sales role. And I put just for a small manufacturing company, if I gave it more detail and told it the number of people in the sales team, the area of the type of manufacturing, it would refine it and do an even better job. So what I wanted to show quickly here is kind of like a little side detour, is how we can immediately make what you do in your job better. Um, what I'm going to put in here is, let's say that we've got a task. Let's put one of these. Gather feedback from customers on needs and relay to the production team. Let's just pick one of these at random. So what it's saying is, look, I need to do this task. Can you give me a hand? How do I actually start off doing this? Because, okay, we know that we should be gathering feedback, but perhaps we're not doing that. So what chat is going to do is going to say, okay, to perform this task, here are some things that perhaps you should be thinking about. And we've couched it in such a way that we can go and get chat to go off and do that work. And it really does, I think, start to show the thing of what AI can do for you. AI is not going to take your job away. That's not going to happen. What AI is going to do is help you do it better. So there's the saying of AI will not replace people, and that's true. But AI will have an impact upon roles because people with AI, those are the ones who are going to replace people without AI. So imagine you've just started this job, or you're doing this, and you know you should be doing this task of gathering feedback from customers. Okay, what's this first one? I just saw this one at random. Chat, can you help me draft a survey to gather product feedback from our customers? It doesn't sound like a bad thing, does it? But how long would it take you to do that? Even with a lot of experience, it's still going to take you a bit of time to start to draft that out. So here we've got chat to start to create this. And you might say, okay, actually, this is all well and good. It's asking for five options. I want seven. You can always go back in and say, chat, that's great, five, thanks, but I want seven options. And you might ask it for a bit more detail in this area or that area as well. But the point here is if you've got a task that you need to do, chat can help you do it better, faster, and it's going to be cheaper because you're doing it faster. Think of AI as a collaborator who is right there with you every step of the way. One of the things that we have, if you think that these sorts of prompts would be useful to you, is we've got over 100, it's 102 currently books for virtually every operation department that you can think of. And the first one we're launching is marketing, and we've got a list of prompts that if you're in a marketing team, you can put in to help you improve your KPIs. The next one we're going to launch is specifically around sales as well. So very clear, very specific prompts that you can use immediately to improve the impact that you're having. So, all right, we've got an idea so far now of the job description, the roles and the responsibilities, and we've seen okay, perhaps we can start to use chat to make our life a little bit easier. What else have we got here? Well, we're only really starting to get warmed up. What I'm doing here is teaching chat with this prompt on how to create a standard operating procedure for pretty much anything in your task, anything in your role. So we just scroll back up here. So this could be your role, it could be somebody in your team's role. And let's say customer relationship manager. So what chat's actually asked us to do, sorry, is it said, all right, you've given me all this information. Great, you trained me. What we've trained it on is created this AI work instruction. And so it's saying, all right, just to remind me of exactly what you need to do, enter in this command and then give me the role, which is head of sales. And then we said the task is customer relationship management. And then let's pick a particular task. Let's go with this. Engage with key clients to maintain and strengthen relationships. And we're going to ask it to now think on how to create a standard operating procedure for this. Now, what we're doing here is giving it a very specific way of doing this. We are getting it to split it out into different steps because this is all about continual improvement. And if we've just got one big, long standard operating procedure, it's really hard to say, well, this piece is working and this piece isn't. So it allows you to hone in on the bit that needs improving. Then it is giving us a principle for why this actually matters and what it's going to do for us. We're then giving it a promise so we can connect back with, okay, this is what's going to happen. It gives us a real good insight and reason for doing this work. And then it creates a playbook for, okay, this is what you should be doing. And it finishes up with prompts that you can put in. So the one that's got at the top of the screen now is just about that client feedback survey, but it can be, or the other ones is about how to approach clients to discuss their current needs and future needs. So what you're getting here is a starting point for a continual improvement piece of work. You have, for every task that you could possibly be doing, you have a standard way of doing it. And then you can work by yourself or with your team. So, okay, what do we see here? How do we go about improving this? So you don't necessarily want to, although it's very fast to create lots of these, you don't necessarily want to create all of them immediately. I would always recommend that you create a small number and get the team to help refine them. You're looking for here is team buy-in to this process. In the next step, I think you're going to see how and why they're going to buy in. Standard operating procedures can have a bad reputation for uh, stifling creativity, being dry. I mean, you name it, they've probably got a bad reputation for it. What we're creating here is a way of taking all of the team's best practice and making a way of doing it that just works. And the reason this really matters is because now you are starting to have predictability in your business. You know that if you've got your team doing this particular task in this particular way, you're going to know exactly what that result is. Anybody in the team has the ability to come up with a way of improving it. And you may want to incentivize them to do that as well. Now you're starting to really create structure to deliver results. So let's take it a step further. Let's make some KPIs. So I'm just going to give a very short prompt here and say, okay, with all of these things in the world that I could be doing, what's, given the limited information here, what is it that I should actually be focusing on? Because we've got our team doing their work. They're, we know teams, they're all doing it through their own lens. They're doing what they think is most important at any particular time. And if we can start to have these very powerful conversations around, okay, these KPIs are the things that matter the most, you get a team that is aligned and a team that is highly focused and delivering extremely high quality work. Now, I've told it to come up with 10. You'd never want 10, of course. Um, 3 to 5 seems to be for our clients a spot where they're getting real impact really, really quickly. Um, and again, this is where you want to leverage your experience because we've got 10 here. Okay, which ones matter? Sales training hours, you might say, yeah, that's vitally important. You might say, actually, no, that just doesn't matter to me. Let's see what it came up with first. Number of new leads and prospects. That should be there. And it gives a description of what it is, what it means by this, and of the relevance. So you might say, yep, this one, lead conversion rate, number of client meet, these all look good. Number, volume of product demonstrations. And this is part of the hard work is saying, okay, no, it's only going to be these 3 or only going to be these 5. So now you've got a team who we're creating this very solid chain from job description down to the tasks, down to this is how we actually do these tasks, and we continually improve it. And now these are the KPIs that we are going to focus on, either individually or as a team. And then we can do something even more remarkable. We can get chat to work with us as a performance coach. So what I've said to it here is that I'm head of sales for a small marketing company, a small manufacturing company, and I've given it some sample data here as well. So what chat is going to go away and do is analyze that data. It's just repeating it back to us with what we've already given it. We can change it so it can either do that or not do that. Sometimes it's very useful because you can put KPI data into chat in pretty much any format, and chat will reformat it for you in a way that is easier to see and easier to understand. We can make it even into prettier tables than this. But the real power is what's happening behind the scenes. Chat will take that data and it will start to analyze it. It will start to look for things that have happened in that data that we as humans might not see. We don't always have the time to sit down, look through the data and analyze it. So chat here is saying, okay, there's 3 key insights that it's found. It's found that there's consistency and follow up. So that's showing something good. It's saying that the pitch strategy has evolved. There was clearly something on July the 19th that has been quite effective and improved. But it's also saying actually closing, there's some challenges around there. It's spotted that there's a decent number of calls and demos, but the closing rate fluctuates. So it's immediately identifying something that could be worked on to be improved. And then it starts to get more specific. It's giving action steps. So it's saying, okay, you've maybe you need to improve on the follow up, and it's going out. It's a great book, actually, Jeb Blunt's Fanatical Prospecting, and saying, okay, this is ways that you should perhaps think about following up, or maybe it's your pitch you want to think about, or maybe it's enhancing your closing techniques. And so this isn't trying to do everything. We're just trying to say, okay, this is what I see. These are three areas. Pick one. Because what you can do here is if you want to delve deeper, so maybe we want to look at enhancing closing techniques, and maybe we want to develop a deeper understanding of prospects' pain points and needs. And we say, okay, yeah, that one's kind of interesting for me. So we just type in the number of that, 3A. And so what it's going to go away and do is say, give us some more information very specifically around that point. So it's taken all of that data, analyzed it, and said, these are three areas. Is there something that you think that you want to focus on? And now it's giving me very, very clear steps that I can actually take. Now, a couple of things around this. One is that if you did this every day, the clients that we see doing this every day are the ones who are having the greatest impact on improving their KPIs. Now, if you do it every day, this might get a little bit dull to read it in this sort of style. Um, Chat's generic voice can be a little bit dry. So what we can say is, that's great. Chat, please rewrite my motivational message in the style of, Ted Lasso. So that initial message, um, let me just take a look at it up here. Yeah, so this was nice. Strategies for elevating your sales efficiency. I trust you're doing well already. These are nice things, but day after day, I think most people would probably blank it out. But if my today I actually know, I think fancy Ted Lasso and his style, then it's a different perspective of receiving the same information. If you are perhaps, excuse me, a Clint Eastwood fan, you could get it to do it in Clint Eastwood style. Snarky and condescending always comes up with something really quite amusing. And there are so many different ways that you can start to use this. If you use DISC or any of the assessments, you can get it to write it. Though many of the assessments will show you how that you absorb information best, and you can get it to rewrite it in that style as well. So if this has started to open up some ideas on how you can use chat, because you can use it immediately to make a difference, then book a demo for yourself. We'll put your details into this and just see what it comes up for you. My goal is for you to be able to make an informed decision about whether you think it might be beneficial for you or for your team. So book a session. We'll spend about 30 minutes going through, putting your data in, seeing what it creates for you, and seeing how you can make an immediate difference on your KPIs and your team's KPIs.